Hey everybody, just got the car back from JT Fab. It's kind of the last thing I was waiting on, besides the water lines. I'll get to that in a little bit. As far as changes go on the car, air to water system, SRX1050 from Pag Parts, and then the CNC manifold. Would not really recommend this unless you really want to cut the car up. The alternator bracket, you need to really fuck up in order to get this thing to fit properly. I also got a thermal spacer back there on the head, so that way this doesn't see too much heat. And then obviously this will be cold, hoping there's no condensation buildup here, but we'll get to that when we get to that. As far as changes otherwise, the fuel system still on the E5LM, just went to a 24 volt system on the PM4. The 24 volt system is just an inverter, so it just steps the 12 volt up to 24 volt. You kind of lose half your current, but keeping the OEM battery so that way the current doesn't drop below, say, 25-30. PM5, sorry, I don't know if I said PM4, I think I said PM4. PM5 only puts out 40, and at 40 it'll be 1200 liter per hour or something stupid like that. So, and not anything that I'll ever need. This car will probably only see 700-800. As far as everything else goes, still the hood exit, still turbo guard. I'm actually gonna switch that to a velocity stack, however big I can fit it. I don't really know yet. I can move this coolant line down, or just move the pipe up, or just take it off. I saw on the LS forums that can, rob you of as much as 7%, 10% on the dyno. So if this is true, I see all the NA guys do it. Just run a velocity stack. I know that's big on the NA Camaros. The air water core is rated for 1200. I don't plan to make 1200. The goal on the car is right around 1000, or try and hold about 1000 average. This charge piping system should really increase the flow from the turbos, so I won't have to run nearly as much boost as any of the other guys on the platform, just because the charge piping is no longer 6 feet, it is now 2 feet. Injectors, I'm not doing the dual setup, I'm just doing single 2600s from FIC. Those are the biggest I can find, besides going to the new 3000s that FIC came out with, but those aren't, those are kind of more of a DI than a port injector, and you need a lot of, I would need to change everything. And I don't know if the stock ECU would be able to put out enough voltage to pulse those injectors properly, and I don't want to deal with trying to step up the voltage and deal with that bullshit, at least not yet. I don't see this car ever going on methanol or anything like that, and that's the only reason I would need to step up to anything bigger than 2600s. The hood exit's fine. Hood exit will stay 4-inch from CC Design. Did a nice job there. And obviously the wheel setup and everything like that will stay the same. As far as weight reduction goes, obviously the car's pretty tin canned out now. It's still OEM from the front seats up, besides carpet, and then obviously the headliner. Headliner and all this back here was probably about 300 pounds, and then the rest of the weight comes from wheels, tires, brakes, exhaust, things like that. The goal for the car is to get it down to around 2,500 pounds without me in it. Obviously that's going to be a lot of work cutting up the inner doors, so like just kind of cutting from here and around, keeping the window regulator, because the Lexan windows that I'm looking at actually fit in the pocket, so I'll be able to use those as a normal window style. Motor combo is the same. Trans is obviously refreshed. just OEM trans, and then still the same clutches, didn't get those refreshed or anything, and then obviously a used flywheel from eBay that's got about 70,000 miles on it or so. As long as it works, I don't really give a fuck. And it'll probably break again anyway, so I'm not really too worried about it. I don't think the block will have any issues with it. I did a lot of research when the car was down, and the gray 250 iron block, I don't really see too much of having any problem. All the 4G63s run gray cast iron, and those guys don't sleeve whatsoever. They do have a little bit of a different rod to stroke ratio, so the rod is a little bit longer and it's not scraping the wall as much. I'm not running the throttle body yet. CNC forgot to ship it, so kind of fucked there. This all is ready to accept the 3-inch throttle body, or 3.25 throttle body from the R8. It's not going to cause too much of a restriction, but it is kind of sucky because all the cold air is going to have to condense again, which is going to heat it up just a little bit, which kind of sucks. But I mean, if I'm going for, I was kind of going for 100% efficiency, try and keep it from, 225 out of the turbo all the way up to 3.5 for the core, and then try and keep 3.5 down to 3.25 for the throttle body. If you wanted to try and copy this setup, I would probably wait for Pag Parts to come out with his. I know he put out a teaser on his Facebook page. The new Q5s for the Gen 5 Evo EA888, those have a integrated air-to-water system into the intake manifold, kind of like the 1.4 Jettas. You can kind of wait for those, but those don't have a MPI port. We would have to figure out something there, probably something similar to like a B58 where you got a plate in front of it, which will space the manifold out so you can run the PI. I'm not going to run a heat exchanger or anything. It's just going to be straight icebox for the air-to-water setup. Makes it a lot more simple on my part, and so that way I don't have to deal with any extra piping and things like that, any extra weight. As far as oil, things like that, I'm switching from Valvoline VR1 to Driven. Once I can find LAT, I will switch to LAT full synthetic. That kind of goes hand in hand with the vertical scraping or the rod stroke ratio. Car will get a cage eventually. I plan on getting just like a half cage, just something that will help a little bit in the event of a rollover. Cooling system, things like that. I don't plan on downsizing the radiator or anything like that. I did actually upsize the radiator. Kind of a bit of my fault there. Didn't really need to do that, but it doesn't hurt either way. The car puts out a fair amount of heat now, so I'm not overly worried about that stuff. I do expect to see some air-to-water setups start popping up. Usually that's how it goes. I get into something and then everybody kind of gets into it. I get it. Copy somebody else's homework. It's fucking easier than trying to do it yourself. I don't really care for any of the big boys. A2W, MVP, Galvano, EcoTune. I haven't heard shit about any of them. As far as I'm aware, none of those cars are currently running. Obviously, I'm not going to put the hood back on. I kind of like it just open. Adds character and makes it a little bit more unique. I know there's a fair amount of blue Golf Rs. I don't feel like wrapping it, and I'm not going to paint it something else. I will match the cam cover when the cam cover comes off for the new valve springs, so that way I can rev the car out to, reliably 9 grand. Show the 24-volt system real quick. So it's just that little inverter there for the PM5. It's just wire from the battery to that, and then that to the PM5. Probably do that with the OEM RS3 pumps. I haven't tried it with the OEM controllers with anybody. If somebody wants to fuck around and find out, then go ahead. I'd love to see if that works. That might be a more simplistic solution to the 700 wheel horsepower range, because I know the EQT Tsunami pumps are pretty ass, and then the Pro pumps can only really handle up to like 650 with the ProTech pump in them. And then obviously E5LM is kind of out of a lot of people's price range. Start making some more content in terms of just kind of recording my outings and things like that with the car, testing things like that, and kind of go from there. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.